Record ko lang siya class ha para dun sa mga wala. Okay. Alright. So sana nare-record siya. Ayan. So here in electrostatics, so we have this one. Electrostatics is a branch of physics that deals with the phenomena and properties of stationary or slow moving electric charges. Now, when we go back to history, teka lang, ayaw move. Anyway, so electricity came from the word electron, which means amber. And this is an example of amber in this picture. So an amber is a yellow fossilized stone. It will become stone after a million years. So this can be seen in a tree branch. So yung isang puno, magkakaroon siya ng resin. So kapag nasugatan kasi yung skin ng puno, magkakaroon siya ng resin katulad nito. I know, nakakita na kayo nito. So para siyang dagta. And after million of years, it will become amber. And during the time of Greeks, they used this amber, no? So the Greeks found that if they rub the amber against a wool or any other cotton objects, lightweight objects would stick to it. They observed this phenomena and they wonder what is the reason behind this effect on these things. So that is a short um, history of how electricity is coined. So after the observation of the Greeks, no, regarding the amber, Benjamin Franklin in 1728 comes in and he discovered electricity through his experiment on the lightning rod, no? Kung saan napaka delikado nung kanyang ginawa wherein naglagay siya ng isang rod, metallic rod doon sa dulo ng kanyang kite at pinalipad yun habang merong thunderstorm. At doon niya nalaman na meron pa tayong tinatawag na electricity. But before we move to that, so let us identify first or differentiate what is frictional electricity to static electricity. Ito yung common na pwede nating magawa within our own. So, frictional electricity, it is the electricity produced by friction, just simply rubbing two stones or any other similar materials. So, once you do frictional electricity, and it, of course, that frictional electricity can produce heat, no? Now, if the charges in a body do not move, then the frictional electricity is also known as a static electricity. This is similar with rubbing your hair with a comb, no? If it's not moving anymore, yung electricity in your comb and in yung sa hair, magkakaroon doon ng static electricity. It can be compared to a um, parang I forgot the word later pag naalala. Alright, so this is another example of static electricity. So, meron tayong ditong two balloons and a wood. Now, objects with the same charge repel each other, no? And negative charges on the balloon attract positive charges on the wall. Ito, paano kaya ito nangyayari? Now, let's say meron kang balloon, hawak mo siya. Nirub mo yan ng cotton or ng isang wool. Okay? Now, depende kasi sa object kung anong subparticles ng atom yung mamumove. Pwede siyang proton or pwede siyang electron. No? So, in this scenario, let's say nag-move yung electron, no, towards the left side of this balloon. Okay? And since nag-move siya towards this left side, no, ang ma-attract niya on the wood ay yung mga positive charges. Okay? This is what we call induction. Okay? I have another example of induction. Tatlo yon, tatlong experiment yon mamaya. Okay? So, ang pinapakita ko lang dito is the relationship of attraction and repulsion. Okay, so, yes po. Taka lang ha. Alright. So, here is the laws of attraction and repulsion. Okay, so repulsion, no, remember if it has two same charges, it will repel. Katulad nito, two positive charges and this one, two negative charges. So they will repel. Kapag neutral, no, ang neutral ba nag-attract ba or nagre-repel? Of course, it is neutral. It will not, there's nothing will happen, no? Pero sa neutral, lahat ng mga neutrally charged particles ay magsasama-sama. So yung mga stable na, sila yung mga nagsasama-sama. They will not push away other particles or they will not attract towards them other particle. Okay? So ito yung mga stabilized na, stable sila. Hindi sila magtutulakan, hindi sila maghihilaan. Pero sa attraction naman, ito oppositely charged. Ito yung mas ito yung ang reaction nila is they are pulling each other. Now, in the electric charge, it is measured in coulombs nga. In coulombs, always write it in capital letter C. The properties of electric charge are these three. Number one, two kinds of charges occur in nature. So, it can attract or repel. And charge is conserved. When we say conserved, no, the amount of subparticles transferred from one object to another is also of the same amount of subparticles transferred from the first object back to the original or terminal, the initial point of origin of the subparticles. Okay, so number 3, charge is quantized. When we say quantized, it is numerically measured. I showed you already the amount of charge for for protons and electrons. Tama? So, as you can notice, meron silang numerical value. Even though it is very, very small, very, very small yung kanyang value, but yet, all charges are quantized. So, ito, charge is also conserved quantized. No? Yung amount nung charge ng isang particle, no, ay nako-conserve din. Hindi magbabago yung numerical value niya na ito 1.610 minus 19 coulombs. Okay? So yung number 2 and 3, they also coincide. Can you follow? Hello po. Alright. Now, going back here, this is the atomic number versus the mass. Okay. Atomic number versus mass number. In writing an element, you write there this in this way, no? So, let's say helium, ang kanyang symbol is big H and small e, and at the left side, on the upper left side, you will write there the mass number. Mass number is the number of protons plus the neutron. Okay? So, ito yung nasa gitna. Kung ano yung mga nakalagay dito, it will determine the mass number. Okay? Or the atomic mass ng isang element. Now, the atomic number is written on the lower left side of the symbol. So, atomic number is the number of proton. The number of proton, no? Pero bakit nangyayaring number of electron yan? Yung nagiging definition minsan. Kasi nga, the number of proton in an element is also the same with the number of electron surrounding on its orbit. Okay, so ito yung kanyang tatlong subparticles. So itong neutron, alam niyo naman na to, yung violet, then yung proton niya, yan, sa gitna. Okay, at ito yung kanyang electron surrounding. This is Bohr atomic model yon nung kanina ng helium. Ito naman ng nitrogen. So, dito sa nitrogen, since ang nitrogen ay mayroong 7 atomic number, so meron siyang 7 protons at 7 electrons. Okay? So, meron siyang 2 outer shell. At sa kanya outermost shell, meron tayong 5 electrons. Now, the electrification and the creation of ions. In theory, a charged particle can be created from an initially neutral atom. So, this is with equal numbers of protons and electrons. So, yung mga neutrally charged natin, they neither attract or repel other particles, but they just freely moving, no? Freely moving lang sila in an object. So, an ion, this is a negatively charged atom. And a cation, it is a positively charged atom. Okay? So, cation, yung may letter T dyan for positive. Now, conductors and insulators. Now, these are materials used to let electricity flow. Okay? So, yung kaninang mga pinakita kong rod, we will classify them, sila ba ay conductors, insulator, or semiconductors. Okay? So, according to electrostatics behavior, materials are divided into two categories. So, it can be conductors and insulators. So, insulators are what we call dielectrics. So, ito yung sinabi ko kanina. So, yung ating mga rods ay example ng insulator. So, they do not allow electric flow. Okay, tandaan pag insulators. Bodies which allow the charges to pass through are called conductors. Example, yun nga, metals, human body, earth, or etc. Bodies which do not allow the charges to pass through are called insulators. So, the examples here are glass, mica, ebonite, plastic, and etc. Okay? Ito na yung sinasabi ko, for you to understand what is a dielectric and how electricity flows in a conductive material. So, insulators do not allow current to flow through them. So, these are examples of insulators: glass, porcelain, and rubber. So, as you can see here, insulator atoms, there are no free electrons because they are sticking on their orbitals, on their outer shell. So, yung mga electrons na yan, they are not freely moving. Okay? There are some materials that do not have free electrons wandering from one atom in their atomic structure. This means that each electron is on its respective orbit and not going from one atom to another. Materials with these characteristics like glass, porcelain, and rubber do not allow electric current to flow through them. So they are called insulators. Now, these are called dielectrics. Why? Because these electrons surrounding the outer shell of the atom, when you put or when you place an object that is opposing the charge of this, let's say positive. So kapag nagtapat ka dyan ng positively charged object, yung positive ion nun will just stick on the place where the electron is placed, no? So it will not circulate, it will not rotate, it will not be transferred, it will not wander from one atom to another. So kaya siya tinawag na dielectric. So meron lang siyang two-way. So it's either andito na yung etong red, nakikita yung red laser? Class? Okay, so let's say itong red laser, ito yung positively charged. So kapag nangyaring dielectric siya, yan, ganyan lang yung magiging flow. Itong positively charged ay tatapat lang nga sa negative, sa electron. Okay? Yung proton ng ibang atom ay tatapat lang nga sa electron. Okay? Now, conductors allow current to flow through them. So, examples are copper, aluminum, and gold. So, ito yung mga good conductors natin. So, kapag dito naman, meron tayong tinatawag na free electron. Yung mga free electron na to, kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng electricity, the flow of electricity. Kasi, yung mga free electrons, they have the ability to jump in from one atom to another atom. So, tingnan nyo tong ano na to, yellow. Ito yung nagdadirect sa atin kung paano nagta-travel yung electron. Okay? So, ang electric current po, meron lang siyang tinatawag na one-way direction. So, from one point to another, doon yan magi-exit. Okay? So, dito pinakita lang yung free flow of electron. No? Anyway, from your left side nga kasi, from your left side, the transfer of the free electrons from your left side to right side. So, yan ay one-way direction lang. Matagal lang nalobat ako. Nalobat ako eh. Okay. Napuputol kasi yung record pag So here, some materials like copper, aluminum, gold, and other metals have the ability of allowing electrons to flow through them. So they are good conductors of electricity because some of the electrons from their atoms left the outer orbits, yun nga yung outer orbits kung mapapansin nyo, and became free to wander from one atom to atom through the whole material. So one-way direction from left to right to. So, if this, kasi ano lang naman ito eh, napakaliit nitong material na to. Kasi tingnan nyo, 2 layers lang ng atom. No? But in our naked eye, the transfer of the electric current will be from our left to right. Can you follow? Class, can you follow? Okay, so next, good conductors of electricity have millions and millions of free electrons constantly wandering from atom to atom even when no voltage is applied to them. So kahit ito daw walang voltage, but still millions of free electrons are constantly wandering. So pag yun ang nangyari, no, ito, tinatawag lang natin siyang erratic movement of electrons. So, there's no current. Even though merong freely moving electrons, pakalat-kalat lang sila. But once we put a voltage, there will be now a current flow. Oh, ayan yung tinatawag nating current flow. No? Let's say, itong copper, naglagay tayo ng material to connect that to a voltage. Ang voltage source natin is itong battery, no? So, ang current flow natin, ang ang battery kasi meron siyang two parts, 'di ba? Anode and cathode, no? So dito sa cathode, ang magi-stick dito yung mga electrons. So yung mata-transfer ditong electrons kasi lalapit siya dito towards sa proton, 'di ba? Doon siya ma-attract So ano to? Um, Ang kanyang direction is counterclockwise, no? Yung current flow. Uniform movement of electrons in one direction. So, the electrons in the copper are attracted to the cathode part of the battery. And once they are being transferred here, matatransfer yan dito, class. So, pag transfer niyan dito, yung amount ng electrons na na-transfer dito is same lang din ng amount ng electrons na nasa anode na matatransfer dito. Remember the law of conservation of energy. Kung ano yung nakuhang subparticle, amount ng subparticle, ay siya ring equal amount ng subparticle na matatransfer sa isa pa. Malinaw po? Malinaw ba, class? Okay, that is the law of conservation of charges. Iba pa yung law of conservation of energy. Diba? Sa law of conservation of energy, energy is not created nor destroyed. Ano lang nangyayari? It is being transformed to another form. No? Nag-iiba lang siya ng form. So, katulad lang din ng concept nun ito. Okay? So, kung ano yung walang nadagdag, walang nabago. Ang nangyayari lang, nagkakaroon lang ng rotation dito. So, yung electrons malilipat dito. Pagkapunta nila dito, mapupush on yun sila doon. Then, cycle lang. It's a cycle. Now, when voltage is applied across a conductor, all the free electrons start moving toward the positive side of the voltage source. This movement of free electrons in one specific direction constitutes an electric current. So when a wire is connected across the terminals of a battery, electrons start flowing through the wire. So for every electron introduced by the battery into the wire from the negative side, one electron leaves the wire toward the positive side of the battery. So yun nga yung ina-explain kong law of conservation of charges. So therefore, the amount of free electrons in the wire is always the same. Okay, a semiconductor is a substance that is usually a solid chemical element or compound that can conduct electricity under some condition but not others. So, for some, pag nainitan yung mga semiconductors, they will conduct electricity, yung ibang materials, yun no? At yung iba naman, kapag sila ay nagkaroon ng electromagnetic field near them, they will start conducting electricity. So, making it a good medium for the control of electric current. As you will notice here, tingnan nyo to. Yung luma natin, ito, silicon transistor. Ang nangyayari kasi dito, once you plug this device, they will automatically, katulad nung dun muna tayo sa ilaw. Di ba sa ilaw, yung elementary experiment nyo na merong bulb, merong battery, merong wire. Once nagkaroon na ng closed circuit doon, no, ang mangyayari, magfa-flow na yung electric current. So, mapapaandar mo ngayon yung ilaw. So, yun yung same concept. It's very plain. It's one cycle only. Pero yung mga ganitong complex devices na, hindi lahat ng features nito ay kailangan naka-on. Tama? So, yung mga devices natin, meron yung mga tinatawag na semiconductor to control the amount of electricity flowing in the parts of the device para hindi lahat gagana. Let's say dito sa radyo, no? Di pag binuksan mo yung radyo, kung wala yung mga semiconductor, lahat yan gagana. Magre-rewind siya, magfo-forward, magne-next, magba-backward, something like that. Okay? So, yun ay nakakontrol because of this, no? And since magkakaiba na yung button niyan, magkakaiba na rin yung function in commanding the semiconductor whether to flow, to let the electricity flow or not. So, as you can see, habang gumaganda yung devices natin, mas nagiging complex and high-tech yung semiconductor na meron sa mga devices natin. Itong mga semiconductor na to, sila nga yung nagko-command whether an electricity will flow or not. Okay? So of course, pag lahat ng command ay nakadepende sa semiconductor. Ang semiconductor nga class, this is called as the brain of modern devices now. Kasi pag wala to, no, mahihirapan tayong makapag-create ng high-tech devices. Kasi yung mga devices nga, automatic once you plug them in an electric source, lahat ng features niya magfa-flow. Lahat ng features niyan gagana. Hindi naman ganun yung modern devices natin. Merong lang times na gagamitin natin yung certain features and not. Okay, ito, kung daw nagkakamali, napanood na natin to. So, I will just, naglagay na ako ng link kung gusto nyo ulit tong panoorin. This is just charging metallic sphere by induction. So, here in induction, yung katulad ng picture kanina na nauna, meron tayong 2 balloons, no? So, yung balloons, pag sila ay na-charge, no? Depende kasi sa materials kung ano yung maiiwan na subparticle at ano yung aalis, no? Katulad nung pinakita kong experiment sa glass and ebonite. Okay, so let us go here. So, charging by induction. So, meron lang tayo ditong this one. In this diagram, I have here 2 metallic sphere. At ang bawat sphere na to, sa diagram 1 muna tayo, A and B, no? Sphere A and B. Ang bawat isa dyan is nakapatong sa isang, ang tawag dito. This is a insulator, no? So, pwede tong glass. So, eto naman, mga conductors to, no? 2 metal spheres are mounted on insulating stands. So, in the diagram 2, we have here sphere A and sphere B, no? Pag naglagay tayo ng isang lobo na negatively charged, malapit dun sa sphere, ang ma-attract nun ay anong charge? Positive, no? Tong positive na to ay galing sa parehas na sphere, A and B. So, yung mga positive charge or proton dito ay matatransfer sa sphere A. Okay? Now, kung yung amount ng proton na transfer sa sphere A, no, ay parehas din ng amount ng electron na matatransfer sa sphere B. Bakit may transfer? Kasi nga, meron tayong law of attraction and repulsion, di ba? So, ito, ang na-attract ng negatively charged na balloon is mga proton. Okay? Now, pag nangyari to, the presence of a negatively charged induces an electron to move from sphere A to B, and the two-sphere system is polarized. It is now polarized kasi yung isang end, yung isang sphere ay positively charged, at yung isang sphere ay negatively charged. No? So, this charging is called an induction. So, this is the process of flowing electrons and protons from one object to another. So, sphere B is separated from sphere A. Pinaghiwalay sila. Now, once pinaghiwalay sila, ang normal scenario na mangyari is to scatter all the charges uniformly over the space of the sphere. So, katulad nitong diagram 4. Now, I have here a question. Who would like to explain how this experiment exemplified the law of conservation of charge? Anyone? Reynan. Sige. Okay. Reynan, ang hinihintay ko sa iyong explanation is this one lang. Sa ating law of conservation of charge, no, the amount of proton transferred from one sphere to another is equal to the amount of electron being transferred from the other sphere to the another. Okay? So, yung dami ng lumipat from sphere A na electron lilipat sa sphere B, no? So, yung amount nun, halimbawa, 5 electrons yung lumipat. Kung 5 electrons yung lumipat, ang lilipat naman sa kabilang side is 5 protons. Now, we call that law of conservation of charge because nagiging equal pa rin yung amount ng subparticles flowing between the two objects. Okay? Apo. Okay, let me just clarify, no. Sa induction, there is point of pagdidikit, no. Tingnan mo yung diagram number 2. Okay? Si diagram number 2, kapag hindi nagdikit yung dalawang sphere, okay, ang mangyayari lang, yung negative or the electron will just move to the other side of this sphere A. Mangyayari dito lang siya, no? But since nagkaroon tayo ng contact between sphere A and sphere B, no? So sa induction, ipapakita lang dito sa part na to na magta-transfer yung charges between two different spheres kasi may contact sila. So magkakaroon ng flow of charges doon. Now, pagdating naman sa sinasabi nating induction na dito sa diagram 3 and diagram 4, kahit alisin na natin yung balloon sa diagram 3, ang mangyayari na-separate natin yung charges between those two spheres, no, by just doing this contact na nangyari sa diagram 2. But with the help of another object na merong different charge. Okay? Ngayon, sa diagram 4, since wala na yung balloon, no? At yung sphere naman is meron lang siyang either positive or negative charge. So, ang amount ng subparticles na meron sila will just radiate, no? They will just scatter uniformly, equally distant, no? Now, ang tinatanong ko lang naman is, paano tong experiment na to naging example or magpapatunay na ang law of conservation of charge is really happening. Okay? Uulitin ko, sa law of conservation of charge, ang sinasabi lang, yung amount of subparticles, mapaproton man yan or electron, kapag nag-transfer from one point to another, yung pinagmulan nun, magbibigay din siya ng same amount, no? Let's say, balik nga tayo dito sa ito, yung dito sa current flow ng copper and ng battery, no? So, kung iisipin nyo, lahat ng electrons na to, let's say ito ay 100, yung electrons na 100 na yan, ma-attract nga dito sa proton. So, kapag itong 100 electrons ay lumipat sa proton side, mauubos na yung electrons dito, di ba? So, pwede bang mangyari yon? No. Kasi, kung ano man yung aalis dito, pupunta dito sa proton side, dito sa cathode side ng battery. Yung nasa anode side ng battery will be transferred doon sa copper. So, it will be a cycle nga. Kung 100 ang umalis doon, 100 ang lilipat na electron. So, that is the law of conservation of energy. Kung ilan yung kinuha mo, yun yung ibibigay mo. Malinaw? Okay. Reyna, naintindihan po? Okay. Okay. Reynan, I just want you to focus on my question. I will just exemplify the law of conservation of charge, no? So, tama naman yung point mo, no? I'm not telling that charging by induction, there must be always a contact. Dito kasi sa diagram 4, kaya siya tinawag na induction dyan, no, sa diagram 4. Para natin ma-prove na ito ay na-charge by induction, remember dun sa YouTube video kung naalala nyo pa, ang gagawin ng lalaki is magpe-place siya ng piece ng cloth towards the metal sphere. At doon makikita natin kung yung cloth ba ay mag-a-attract or repel. Yung cloth na yon is ano siya, is rubbed, na-rub yun ng lalaki. So, dun niya ma-identify aling sphere yung positively charged based on induction and aling sphere yung negatively charged based on induction nga. Okay? Uulitin ko, ang tanong ko lang, paano to naging, paano to magpo-prove na ang law of conservation of charge is happening here. Okay? Naintindihan na po ba? Hello, class? Okay. So, in this law of conservation of charge, no, ang gusto ko lang ipakita sa inyo, yung transfer ng amount of proton. I'm talking about the amount kasi, ha? The amount of proton transferred, the same as the amount of electron being transferred. Okay? So, of course, this experiment is an induction, no? Pero ang tinanong ko lang kanina is paano natin makikita dito yung law of conservation of charge. Okay, I understand your point. Okay. Class, remember, in an atom, 'di ba, meron tayong 3 subparticles, okay? Ang matatransfer lang natin doon or yung mamumove lang natin yung nasa orbitals, which is the electron. Now, paano naging positive ito? Okay? Hindi literal na nag-transfer yung proton. What I'm telling is, pag naglipat kasi si electron, 'di ba, sa isang atom from one another, ang mangyayari, mas madaming proton na yung naiwan sa isang side. So, kaya siya nagiging positively charged. Okay? This is positively charged, yung sphere A, at yung isang side is negatively charged. To make these things clear, kaya lang naging negatively charged yung tawag dito, yung sphere B, kasi nga, naglipat yung electron doon. And remember, kapag mas marami ang electron compared sa proton, that element or that object is negatively charged. Okay? Now, kung yung mga nag-transfer na electron, electron lang ang magta-transfer ha, yung mga nag-transfer na electron from one element or object to another, no? Of course, ang may iwan doon is mas maraming proton. Kaya ang isang object is nangyayari, siya ay positively charged. Okay? Renan. Okay po. Alright, next one. Ito naman. So, yung kung kanina, sphere A yung ating positively charged, ito naman sa diagram, iba. Kasi ang inilapit sa sphere A is positively charged balloon. Okay? So, same principle, charging by induction, electrons will be transferred to sphere A from sphere B kasi they are attracted to the positively charged balloon. Okay? Now, this sphere A is negatively charged kasi mas marami yung electrons na nag-transfer. Remember, electrons lang ang magta-transfer because siya yung nasa outermost shell ng isang atom. At ang ating proton at neutron, no, we really need a very strong energy for them to break, no? So hindi sila agad-agad na break. Yun nga yung nangyayari sa sun yung nuclear fission and fusion, no? Dahil mataas yung energy doon, they can either break uh, the the protons, they can break the protons to the neutron kahit sila ay nasa inner particles na um, ng ng atom. Okay? So, okay, now here, once pinaghiwalay na natin yung two spheres, okay, ito, mananatili dito yung negatively charged. Ito ang sphere A is negatively charged. Okay? Then, it will now spread uniformly yung kanilang charge throughout the sphere. Okay? Now, to test that this induction is really happening, we can test this by rubbing a cloth. Then, yung rubbing a cloth na yon, we can tell that it is negatively charged, no? Yung negatively charged na yon, makikita natin aling sphere dito yung positively charged kung yun ay mag-attract sa cloth at alin yung negatively charged kung yun ay mag-repel sa cloth. Now, ito ay isang diagram lang to show you yung pag-transfer ng electron. Okay? Yung mismo experiment ng paggamit ng cloth, yun ay isang way to prove na merong positively charged sphere and negatively charged sphere. Malinaw po? Okay. Okay, now, charging a single sphere by induction. So, this one naman, still, there will be no total contact lahat ng balloons starting kanina hindi yan nagkaroon ng total contact sa ating sphere. So, parang ilalapit mo lang yan ng konti but not direct contact. So, this one is negatively charged balloon. So, ito yung sinabi ko kanina, sa left side niya magiging positive at yung ito ay positively charged part ng sphere. At tapos yung mga electron magta-transfer sa other side. So, ito yung negatively charged part ng sphere. Now, when you touch the sphere, the electrons leave the sphere through the hand and enter the ground. Kasi ito ay bababa papunta sa iyong paa. No? So, yung sphere na is a positively charged. Okay, so the positive charge evenly distributes itself over the sphere. Next, charging a single sphere by induction. So, ito naman, ibang charge balloon lang ang ginamit, but same principle. Okay? Alright. So, dito again, sa law of conservation of charge, kung ano yung amount ng electrons na nag-transfer papunta dito. Okay? So, kung ito ay lilipat dito, yung amount ng electrons na nandito sa anode part ng battery will be transferred to the other side. So, magkakaroon tayo ng electric current. Okay? Nakukuha po ito? Hello? Okay. So, let's say, yun nga, kung 100 electrons ang nandito, matatransfer yan dito. Kung ilan yung electrons na na-transfer mo dito, so, yung nasa anode part ng mga electrons will be transferred to the other side to complement yung electrons na nawala doon sa copper. And this will be a cycle at paulit-ulit tong electric flow na yan. Now, this is a simple circuit to determine solid conductivity. So, here are the basic parts, no? So, meron tayong source of power. This is the battery. So, ammeter, we will use this to test the electric current. So, meron tayong crocodile clip. So, itong black material na to, itong makapal na to, it can be a metal or anything, any material that we want to test the conductivity. Tapos, itong nandito nakalagay na test substance, pwede itong soil, pwede yung water. So, we will see if there will be a closed circuit to let the electricity to flow in this circuit. So this is an example of ammeter. The electric current is measured by ammeter. An electric current is a stream of charged particles, electrons or ions moving to an electrical conductors or space. So it is measured as the net rate of flow of electric charge past at region. So this is into milliamperes. Ito yung lalagyan mo ng connectors. Ito yung anode side, ito yung cathode side. Then ko-connect mo to dun sa iyong test material kung titingnan mo yung conductivity ng isang object. So the force between two charged bodies was studied by Coulomb in 1785. So this is Charles Coulomb. Coulomb's law states that the force of attraction or repulsion between two-point charges is directly proportional to the product of charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So the direction of forces is along with the line joining the two-point charges. Let's say, if we have here, dito tingin tayo sa taas muna. To. So, these are the two objects natin. So, they are both positively charged object. Now, their magnitude of electrostatic force between them can be measured according to Charles de Coulomb. We will just consider the magnitude of the electrostatic force or the quantity of this force in this first object and the quantity of force in this second object, no? And once we multiply them, no, and that is divided to the square of the distance between them. Okay, so there is a direct proportionality to the product of the charges. So product of the charges of these objects is measured in coulombs unit. Okay, and when you divide them, that is inversely proportional to the square of their distance. So the same as this two negatively charged object. And of course, pag same charge tayo, they will repel. At if they are same charge, they will attract. Point charges, a charged object has all of its charges located at the center and uniformly spreading across the surface of the object. In each object that we're going to measure, we will start measuring their distance from the center. Hindi yan sa pinaka nearest point of the object. Okay? Yun ay sa pinaka center. So from center of the point A to the center of the other point B. Okay. So to make to have an illustration, tingnan niyo tong nasa baba. Let us have Q1 or the quantity 1 for the first object. Okay? And the quantity 2 for the second object. Alright. I have here, hinahanap ko lang yung example for the computation. Okay, now distance is measured from the center of a charged object to the center of the next charged object. Okay, so Coulomb's law wants to predict what is going to be the electrostatic force. We use symbol F for the force and small e for the electrostatic force. But yung ibang formula, pwedeng F lang siya, pero ito gusto ko may FE para we can differentiate that we are looking for the electrostatic force. Kasi pag F lang, force lang tayo lagayon, we're looking for a Newton unit of force. No? So, electrostatic force of attraction or repulsion between two charged objects. Okay, so katulad nito, we have here two different objects. We don't know what is the charge between them, no? So, but based on this, no, we can say that there is repulsion happening between them kasi sila ay pushing each other, no? So if we're going to measure this from the center of this first balloon, the pink balloon, to the center of the green balloon, and we're going to measure the charges between these two balloons. So para mas madali tayo, I will just give you certain quantity or value for Q1 and Q2. Let's say this is the formula, no? Electrostatic force is equals to the constant K or the Coulomb's proportionality constant multiplied with the Q1 and multiply with Q2 all over R squared. So electrostatic force that is measured in Newton. We will get a final answer of Newton there later. And Q1 is the quantity of charge magnitude of object 1 in coulombs, big letter C, the same as Q2. Now R squared is the distance of separation of objects in meter. So that is always R squared. And K is the Coulomb's proportionality constant. So for us to not to have a very long discussion on how to get Coulomb's proportionality constant, I will just give you the value of that. So ito ay 9.0 times 10 raised to 9 Newton meter squared over column squared. So, this is the Coulomb's proportionality constant. Bakit mayroon tayong gantong Coulomb's proportionality constant? Because computing for the electrostatic force of objects depends on the medium that they are in. So, dito, hindi naman tayo vacuum ang nasa Earth, no? So, ang medium natin dito, ang space natin is air. So, si Coulomb's, nakita niya yon na pwedeng, iyon ay factor in computing electrostatic force. And there is scientific and mathematical equation to prove his Coulomb's proportionality constant. Now, ibang usapan naman kapag kukumputin mo ang electrostatic force kapag ito ay nasa tubig, yung mga object. So, maiiba naman yung iyong gagamiting Coulomb's proportionality constant. So, let us have your calculator. Okay. Meron ng calculator. Bibigay ko muna yung pinaka-basic example. Class, may calculator na po. Kahit sa phone lang. Hello, class. Okay, so tingnan niyo lang muna tong formula. Electrostatic force is equals to the Coulomb's proportionality constant, no, multiplied with Q1 and Q2 all over R squared. Yung ibang formula, what they do is multiplying the proportionality constant to the absolute value of the Q1 and Q2, no? Pero dito, ang gagawin natin is wala mo ng absolute value because we want to see the use of the signs for each quantity, no? So, kung yung bawat quantity ba na to, pag minultiply natin kapag positive ang Q1 at positive ang Q2, they will have a positive final answer. At kapag positive or plus sign yung final answer natin for the electrostatic force, ano kaya yun? Attractive force or repulsive? Pag meron tayong both positive charge for Q1 and Q2, kasi hindi natin kukunin yung absolute value eh. Ang gusto ko, gagamitin natin si symbol to identify kapag repulsive ba or attractive force ang meron between two objects. Ano po? Ayan. So, even we are not yet computing for the final answer, just merely looking at the symbols given in the Q1 or the Q2, we can identify that the attraction between them is what? Ano po ulit yon? Ayan, repulsive silang dalawa. Okay? So, kapag parehas namang negative sign, attractive or repulsive force ang meron? Okay, repulsive. Basta the same sign, they will repel. And pag opposite sign, they will attract. Now, let us have the example number 1. Suppose that 2-point charges, the Q1 and Q2, each with a charge of positive 1 coulomb. You will just simply write big letter C for coulomb. They are separated by a distance of 1 meter. Determine the magnitude of the electrical force of repulsion between them. So, first thing first, identify the given. So, pakilagay lang muna, enumerate natin. Q1, positive 1 coulomb. Q2, positive 1 coulomb kasi parehas daw. Ang radius nila is 1 meter. Ang ating constant, this will not be changed. 9.0 times 10 to the 10th raised to 9 Newton meter per second. Newton meter squared over coulomb squared. Etong constant kasi mahabang values to. Meron tong equivalent na 8.98 and so on. So, what we did is just simply round that up to the nearest whole number. Okay, so para hindi mahirap mag-compute, 9.0 na gagamitin natin. Okay, nakakasunod po. Class, given pa lang tayo. Nakakasunod ba? Hello, class? Okay, now we're going to find the electrostatic force. Oh, so, ang una niyong gagawin is to simply substitute the given to the formula. Ang formula natin, ito na, no? We're looking for the electrostatic force. So, ayan ang given natin. Okay? So, first one, paki-substitute mo na yung K. Sulat nyo yung 9.0 times 10 raised to 9 Newton meter squared over C squared. Pakilagyan ng parenthesis para hindi malito. BSE, nandyan pa ba kayo? Okay. Nakakasunod po dito. Mabilis lang naman to. I-substitute lang natin. Hello, BSE? Nawala na yung iba? Okay, now, that will be multiplied to the Q1. The value for Q1 is positive 1 columns. The Q2 is positive 1 column. Then, all over 1 point meter parenthesis squared. Okay, next. So, you will just execute the operation. So, unahin muna natin tong Q1 and Q2. So, they will become positive 1. 1 times 1 is positive 1 column squared. No? So, as is pa rin tong constant natin. But, ang gagawin natin is to cancel C squared. Remember, kapag makakancel lang natin yan kapag sila ay nasa magkaibang position, kung yung isa ay nasa up at yung isa ay nasa down. Okay? So, in this case, so pwede natin sila i-cancel. So, wala na tong column. Okay? So, ang ating distance is now 1.0 meters squared. Now, execute the formula. 9.0 times 10 raised to 9 multiplied by 1 is still the same. So, what will happen? No? We will now cancel meter squared for this two. So, cancel na yon. So, we have that answer. Positive 9.0 and positive 9.0 times 10 raised to 9 Newton. Okay, who got the same answer? Hello, class? Uy, nandiyan pa ba kayo? Apo, we need to indicate kung positive or negative yung final answer kasi hindi natin kinuha at this moment yung absolute value. Balik tayo dito sa value ng Q1 and Q2, di ba? Positive, positive yon. Ang ating constant naman kasi is positive. So, pag minultiply natin yun, that is positive. Now, bakit kailangan natin malaman ano bang sign niya? Kasi, we're going to determine, ito, di ba yung sagot natin is positive 9.0 times 10 raised to 9 Newton. This force of repulsion of two 1 column charges held at 1 meter apart caused how many force? This is very big force, 9 billion newtons for just simply one column. This is an incredibly large force that compares in magnitude to the weight of more than 2,000 jetliners pag pinagpatong-patong mo sila. So, this scenario is not feasible. Okay? We cannot have an object with this positive 1 column charge. Okay? So, ang ating charge lang ay pwedeng less than 1.0. Okay? Ito nga ay nasa ano to eh. Nasa 10 raised to negative numbers. Okay? So, ito, meron akong shortcut dito. 1 column is equals to 10 microcoulomb or 10 raised to negative 6. And also 1 coulomb is equals to 10 raised to negative 9 nanocoulomb. Okay, or the NC. So, pag ito yung binigay kong format or unit, so, alam niyo na yung value niya. That is 10 raised to 6, negative 6, and 10 raised to negative 9. Now, itong positive nga signifies repulsive force. We will have repulsive force, positive sign, kapag parehas na sign yung ating charged object. Kapag sila ay opposite charge, we can have a final answer of negative sign. So, it signifies attractive force. No? Oh, itong 9 billion Newton, napakabigat niyan. The unit for weight, ito 1 Newton is equals to 1 kilogram meter per second. Let us move on to example number 2. So here, two balloons. Two balloons are charged with an identical quantity and type of charge, which is minus 6.25 nanocoulomb. They are held apart at a separation distance of 61.7 centimeters. So this will be converted to meters muna. Determine the magnitude of the electrical force of repulsion between them. So we have the Q1, that is minus 6.25 times 10 nanocoulomb yun. So 10 raised to negative 9 coulomb, same as Q2. Now for their distance, we will convert this to meters. So meron tayong 0.617 meters. Still, we have the same constant. Now, we're going to find the electrostatic force. That is the given. First, substitute the given for the given. So, ito 6.25 yon, minus 6.25 times 10 raised to negative 9 coulomb, the same as the value of Q2, all over 0.617 meters squared. Na bago na natin yon. Okay? So, ang una nating i-multiply dito, yung dalawang quantity, Q1 and Q2. So, ayan, nagkadikit sila. Taka lang. Okay. So, ayun, so substitute lang natin yung given. So, una nating i-multiply, paki-compute sa inyong calculator. Ang ginawa ko lang dito ay just multiply minus or negative 6.25, multiply it with another 6 minus 6.25. So we will have a positive 39.06. Now what we will do in their in this 10 raised to negative 9, we will just copy 10, and then kapag same sign, di ba? Kapag sa rule of addition, no? Sa rule of multiplication of these numbers, if they have the same sign, you will just copy the sign and then add them. So, minus 18. Okay? So, we have the product of 39.06 times 10 raised to negative 18. Nakuha nyo ba? Parehas lang. Minultiply ito. Okay, now, so, after nyo i-multiply yon, ang next nyo gawin, para hindi kayo malito, is to, tawag dito, cancel the column unit. Kasi C-squared sila. Now, pagka-cancel, i-multiply nyo na yung 0.617 meters squared. You will just multiply it with itself. So, did you get the same value? 0.38? Hello, class? Okay. Always remember, we are going to round off our answer in the nearest hundreds. Okay, so 2 digits lagi. Na-round off yun, 0.38. Okay. Next one, unahin natin yung nasa taas, i-multiply natin. Okay? So, paano i-multiply to? Ang gawin nyo lang, you just simply multiply 9 times positive 39.06. Okay? And then, copy times 10. Then, we will get here, kapag opposite sign, you will subtract, no? Okay, paki-compute. Now, why does it become 7? Kasi yung answer nyo dyan is, you will just adjust. Mag-a-adjust tayo ng 2 decimal places. Kaya naging 7 pa to, nabawasan. Nakita? 3.5 ano yan? Okay, i-round off natin sa nearest, pang 2 decimal places. Teka lang, calculator ko. Ano yung nakuha mo? Okay. Ang ginagawa ko dito, class, para hindi ako mahirapan doon sa may times 10 raised to something. Okay. Ang gawin nyo ganito. Try, sabay-sabay tayo. Doon tayo sa 9. So, yung 9 whole number na siya, tama? Tama po ba? Yung 9 is whole number na. Yun dito. Tama? Hello, class? Uy. Okay. So, you have there 9. That's whole number. You just type in sa calculator nyo 9. Lagay nyo 9 times. Dito, sa value na to, i-move nyo yung decimal place. Gawin natin tong whole number. So, pag naging whole number na to, 3,906. No? Ilagay nyo sa calculator nyo, times 3,906. Dahil nag-move tayo to our right, ito ay mababawasan. Babawasan natin siya ng 2. So, this will become 10 raised to negative ilan? Hello, class. Babawasan natin to ng 2 kasi nag-move tayo ng decimal place to our right. So, this will become negative 16. Babawasan lang natin to ng 2. Itong 18. Nakuha? Okay, so 16 siya. So, meron tayong negative 16 dito. Okay? Now, pag minultiply na natin yung 9 times 3,906, we will get 3,554. Tama? But, this whole number, babalik tayo doon sa scientific notation natin. So, we will move the decimal places. Kung kanina sinubtract natin yung 9 minus to ay whole number. Dito galing to eh. Hello, nandyan pa ba kayo? Okay. So, ito pala, hindi siya pwedeng i-move to the right. Kasi pag minove natin siya to the right, ang mangyari, add pala to, add. This will become 20. Because our goal is to make this 39.06 as 3,906. So, hindi siya mababawasan, siya ay madadagdagan. So, this will become 20. Okay? Paki-clarify yon 20. Okay. Now, So, 22, ito ay 9. So, dahil nung minultiply natin yung 9 times 3,906, we come up with 35,154. Okay? At ito ay lalagay muna natin yung ano natin, i-move natin yung decimal places natin, no? So, ang mangyayari dito, this will become 20 minus 9 is 11, no? So, dito, ito 20, ito 9. So, 11. So, yung 11, yung negative 11 natin, 10 raised to negative 11, that will be further uh, uh, reduced to 4 decimal places kasi i-move pa natin yung 3,554 to scientific notation. Kaya ito naging 3.52 times 10 raised to 7. Okay, so we will cancel meter squared. Then, execute the last formula. Okay, the last operation. So, 3.52, ang gagawin mo na lang dito, no, is to divide them, no? So, 3.52 divided by 0.38. So, we will get an answer of 9.26. Yes po. Wala kasi akong gamit na scientific calculator. Taka lang 6 point. Minultiply nyo na ba yung ang ginagawa ko kasi class, in multiplying this, hindi ko muna sinasama itong 10 raised to negative 9. Okay? Kasi ang gamit ko lang is basic calculator. Pero kung possible naman sa inyo, na mag-multiply dyan sa calculator nyo, baka pwede. So, gagawin ko 0.000 something para makuha ko yan. Sige. 0. Kasi 9 decimal places ito eh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? 6, 2, 5 times 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6, 2, 5. Anong nakuha nyo? 3 point? 3.906 raised to okay, 17 sa'yo. Okay. So, nagkaiba tayo na answer dito kasi mali ang pagkakatype ko. So, hindi siya dapat, since nga to, no? Scientific notation. So, dapat i-move natin to our left. Kasi, di ba, pag scientific notation, meron lang tayong how many? Ayan, very good. Kasi, kaya to naging 39.06, ang ginawa ko nga, nag-manual ako, tapos iniwan ko na lang yung 10 raised to negative 9. So, hindi na tayo nagkakalayo sa final answer na 9.26 times 10 raised to negative 7 sa akin. Sa inyo is 9 point? Okay, 9.25 times 10 raised to negative 7. Class, dito kasi yung pinagkuhanan kong reference nito, ang kanyang answer doon is 9.23 times 10 raised to negative 7. So, dito tayo nagkakatalo-talo sa last digit. Kasi nga, depende, katulad ko, ang ginagawa ko minsan, dahil wala akong scientific calculator, ang ginagawa ko, yung manual. Doon sa manual, malaki ang chance na magkamali tayo. Katulad dito sa part na to, naging 39.06 ako. So, dapat scientific notation pa rin, 3.1 digit whole number lang. Okay, nakita yung mali ko dito? Okay, so dun tayo magiging careful kapag manual. Pero since yung iba naman sa inyo may scientific calculator, edi mas maganda. Okay? Now, for your activity in this lesson, lahat kayo mag-answer for this example number 3. What I want you to submit to me, no? You're going to um, uh, send a picture, no, na meron kayong solution for this. I want you to show me the solution like this one. Yung i-enumerate nyo bawat isa kung paano siya naging ganito yung final answer. So, bawat changes, kung ilan yung minultiply nyo, kung ano yung kinancel nyo, ipapakita. Malinaw po, step by step. Malinaw, class? Okay, now, your activity is this one. Example number 3. Lahat to ha. 2 balloons with charges of positive 3.37 microcoulomb. So, this is times 10 raised to negative 6 coulomb. Okay? And negative 8.21 microcoulomb attract each other with a force of 0.0626 Newton. So, given na ang magnitude of electrostatic force. Ang hahanapin nyo dito is determine the separation distance between the two balloons. You're going to have substitution equation dito, no? Para makuha yung yung kanyang for us to find the value of the distance. Okay. Balik ako dito kanina. Dito pala, hindi ko natanong. Anong attraction na meron dyan? Repulsive or attractive? Okay, this is repulsive. Tandaan kapag positive sign, repulsive. Nakita nyo naman dito, oh, sila ay parehas ng charge. Alright. Okay, so itong charge na to, attractive force or repulsive force ang meron? Attractive kasi opposite sign ang meron. Okay? Alright. Now, I want you to tell your class na meron kayong activity. Saan to ipapasa? Basta prepare lang muna kayo ng solution nyo. Lalagay nyo yung inyong name and section. Under nyan, lagay nyo yung inyong course, BSES 31. BSES 31 at date today. Okay? Then, ang ilalagay na lang, ano yung kulang dito? Ilagay ang formula sa papel. May nagsusulat ba? Hello, class? Nandyan pa kayo? Okay. So, ang kailangan ko, formula, solution, and final answer. Sa final answer, take note. Sa final answer, kailangan merong sign yung final answer. Scientific notation tayo. Malinaw? Okay. Yes po. Ilalagay nyo kung yun ay attractive or repulsive force. Okay. So, siguro hanggang dito na lang tong presentation na to. Ang PowerPoint, ang copy ng PowerPoint ay isesend ko sa ating FB group.